Alright guys, what you just seen that time lapse was a bunch of frustration over the rear door, or the front door. As you close this thing around, I was hitting the frame of the door the entire time, and no matter how I adjusted it, what came downwind of it, it kept hitting. Being that this back corner here really isn't going to need to be fully there, I opted to cut it out. I cut it out. I'm going to get the door nice and square where everything's fucking... Sorry about the language. I'm going to get the door nice and square where everything is closing the way it should versus the heater channel. Then I'm just going to re-weld this in however far back. I did a ton of measuring. I think, if you can see here, some of this was custom fabbed. Right where these two bolts here are and all the way across, because at the time when I first did this car, I couldn't find a donor piece right here and it was completely rotten. That being said, I think when we put it all back together, this whole rear section of the car from here back, I think it's actually 3/8 of an inch too far forward, which when the doors were welded shut didn't really matter, because as long as the door was jammed shut and welded, who cared? But this being the first time the doors have ever been opened since then, I could not get the jambs to adjust correctly. So I'm thinking that when we built this section, everything's slightly out. As much flex was in the rear of this body, it would not surprise me if it was more than 3/8 of an inch, but I think roughly that's where it was at. So I'm going to get this all cleaned up and make sure the door works in and out real well versus the heater channel. And then I will reassemble these pieces when it's ready. So that's where we are. I'll cut you guys back on here in a few minutes. Well guys, as you can see, I knocked down a big section on the outside of the burst. It had a bunch of old Bondo that needed to come off anyway. So I went ahead and knocked all that down. Then on the back side here, I cut this portion of the support out. That'll allow me to tuck this around when the time comes. I'll be able to bow this inwards. And now while I got it all apart, and it's a lot easier to weld it sitting like this, I'm going to cap these corners, all these little gaps. I want to take some sheet metal and put in all of them, tack everything down in there so it looks like something. And then once I get that done, I will be putting the latch back in the door and the latch back in this side here, the receiver rather. And we will go from there. I'll close the door and set it and tack it in place, do a couple of trials, and then we'll be hitting this side over here. We got the exact same process to do over there. So that's where it's at. I will see you guys here in a few. Well guys, it's been a few minutes since I last had you on. As you can see, I cut this whole section out. I tacked in a brace right here across to help stiffen this, stop it from moving. If you see, it's opening and closing completely. So it's doing exactly what I need to do. Now I just got to bring the body around with the roof line section on top. I got to replicate this exact same thing on the other side, and I'll probably do that one off camera. And I don't know that it'll get done tonight, because that right there is all the welding wire I have left. which is not very much. So, well, guys, I guess I'll leave it at that for tonight. Sorry it's taking so long to get back to this. It's just been hectic here. Work's kind of crazy. We got that coronavirus crap going on, and I'm working at a football stadium, soccer, I guess. And I don't know, it's just been hectic, man. I ain't had a whole lot of time to get out here. I did a little bit of work on my Impala's taillights, reverse lights, just because I had to have something to use them, something, form of light to back up where I'm working at downtown. It's kind of a questionable area, and you want people to see that you're moving when you do, because it's not exactly the area you want to bump into somebody accidentally on. But yeah, that's where we're going to end it for tonight. I want to have to order some welding wire. Might be able to go pick some up this week. I'm not positive. I'm not really sure if the place is open where I normally go through. Worst case scenario, I could always go to Harbor Freight, but I honestly don't know that they're open. I'll just have to make some calls and check. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Have a good night. See you.